going on, guys? It's S197 Ethan here, and today it's a different video than what I'm used to doing. Today we're going to be doing top 5 things I like and dislike about my car. So first we're going to start off with the dislikes. So basically, I've had a lot of people ask me, if it's worth the buy, the 2005 to 2009 Mustang, and even 2010. And I would say yes if you're just buying it, if you're like new into muscle cars, or into just into cars in general, and you want something that's pretty quick. This is a perfect car. It handles good if you have the right suspension, and it's got decent torque and horsepower. So first thing off that I dislike about this car is actually the engine itself. So it's the 4.63 valve, which is basically in the middle of the 4.62 valve and the 4.64 valve. The 4 valve is like the Terminator, like Marauder engine from like the Mercury Marauders, I think is what they're called. And it makes good power. It makes about 300 horsepower to the crank and about 325, I think, foot-pounds of torque, which is decent for when it was brand new in 2007. But today, new Mustangs are making 460 horsepower. But I mean, one thing that I do like about this engine is how reliable it is. It's got a cast aluminum block, but I think the block is rated at 800 horsepower that you can push out of these things. So yeah, the engine is okay, but it's just mediocre at best. It handles good. It can put up with decent power, but the aftermarket on these is really huge. But with full bolt-ons like I have in a tune, I'm still making only about 320 horsepower. But they're really good with boost, like supercharger, turbocharger. That's how you really can only make power with these. I think 4 Eyes is another YouTuber. He has a 2006 Mustang that he's pushing around 400 horsepower, but he has his bored and stroked out to a 4.9. Alright guys, so the second thing that I dislike about my Mustang and pretty much every other black Mustang is the paint. It was a real big problem with this generation and the first gen Coyotes, but the paint the clear coat starts to chip off and flake off, and it looks like crap. It's mainly on the hood that the problem has, but this is an aftermarket hood. This is the original paint on here, and it just starts flaking off like right here. And I mean, obviously, like if you get a black car, don't expect it to look clean ever. You can never get these things to look clean in general. But yeah, that's the second thing I don't like about this car. Third thing I hate about this car is the transmission. So Ford used the Tremec 3650, the TR 3650, and it's a good transmission for this car, stock. And if you added, like, I don't know, if you're making probably 350 foot-pounds of torque, I don't know if this thing would be able to handle it. It's a pretty weak transmission, and it's known for first to second synchro wearing down eventually. So every now and then when I'm doing a first to second gear pull, it'll grind the gear. And also I lost first gear pretty much, and this is pretty much not a high power setup. So yeah, I really wish Ford would have done the TR 6060 transmission in these, so it would have been a 6-speed instead of a 5-speed, and they put those in the GT350 or GT500s of the same year. And then the fourth thing I hate is how plasticky and cheap this car is. So like the doors have like a really hollow sounding plastic, and like this right here, that is pretty normal on these cars. And then right here, I don't know if you can see that, that likes to delaminate, and I actually had to, the previous owner put some aftermarket leather on here. It's not the stock leather that comes with it, so I just used some of that sealing, like for the headliner glue, that spray-on glue, and just taped it up, and it's held since. But also like all the plastic pieces, like that holds in it like loops around it and it goes up, that likes to pop out, and just anything that's not held down with a screw will pop out eventually, because it's just, everything on this car is super rattly. It doesn't matter what speed you're going, it's gonna have a really bad rattle to it. And it's not the balance, it's not the alignment or anything like that. It's just how these cars are. So yeah. All right, guys. So that is top 5 things that I dislike about my car, and the S197s in general. It was kind of hard to make this list because I absolutely love this car. It's been my daily for about 1.5 years. And so since we're done talking about what I hate, I'd love to start talking about what I like about the car. There is a ton of stuff I like about this car. It was hard for me to even put together a top 5 things I like about my car just because there's so many. So let's get into that. So the first thing I like about this car is how easy it is to break the rear end loose. So the second thing I like about this car is the amount of aftermarket parts for this thing. American Muscle, CJ Pony Parts, all of those companies have unlimited amounts of aftermarket for this. Anything from the lights, you know, engine. You can basically buy a crate engine for this thing. That makes 500 horsepower off American Muscle. It's just, the aftermarket is insane. I mean, you're not gonna make a lot of power with all the stuff you can put on it, but it's just there. You know, if you want to do cosmetics, engine mods, transmission mods, all that stuff, it's all there. So the third thing I like about this car is the exhaust. The 3 valves are an amazing sounding engine. It's mainly because they don't have resonators or any of that crap from the factory like the new 5.0s do. So from the factory they sounded amazing. With an exhaust they sound even more amazing. I used to have an off-road H-pipe connected to muffler deletes. That was a little too loud for the neighborhood, so I put on some Flowmaster exhausts, or mufflers I meant, and they sound okay. They're a little quieter than I wanted, but they make the neighbors happy, so yeah. So the fourth thing I like about my Mustang is how forgiving these cars are. I beat the shit out of this car every day. I don't think it's had an easy mile on it since I've owned it, and I've put 140, well, it has 140,000, but I bought it with 90, so that's what, 50,000 miles. So I've beat the crap out of this thing, and I've had little to no problems so far, cross my fingers. But they're just a really reliable engine. They're pretty simple, and they just, I mean, these cars were made to be abused, just like every other Mustang, but this one just seems to be the icing on the cake for reliability. And then the fifth thing I like, which is pretty much why everyone wants a 3 valve, is because of the appearance. It looks just like the late 60s Mustang with the fastback. I mean, it's basically, I don't know if they call it a resto mod or what they would call it, but it looks just like it did back in the 60s, just modified. That comes with the dash, the steering wheel, the seats even. It's just so vintage looking that it makes it that much more beautiful. It's a beautiful car. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. My goal is to hit 100 subscribers by the end of 2020, so let's make that happen. And I hope you guys have a great day. Instagram is slower than a mower. Instead of spaces, it's periods. He is amazing for the channel. He helps record all the videos. Make sure to give him a follow. Here's his reverse donut. Make sure you guys follow Jeffrey on Instagram, slower than a mower. Instead of spaces, it's periods. He helps a lot with the videos, so without him none of this would be possible. But got anything to say, Jeffrey?
I can smell it, dude. Everyone says don't buy a Mazda. Look at that right there.
That's speed right there.